people are so familiar with this funny gadget today called a horseless carriage, a car. Take the gas tank of a car. I'm sure you'd appreciate it if there's only such a minor tiny hole in the bottom of that tank, right? What does it matter to you if there's a tiny hole in the bottom of that tank or a big hole? You need that thing tight. And that's like having the truth. As if the truth was liquid, and you either take the whole container or you lose everything. If that container of truth, and that's church doctrine, is not tight anymore, and you're on the highway, you are lost. Especially in Nevada or Arizona, you might actually be lost, in the true sense of the word. So remember that. Next time you talk about, well, we don't have to believe all of that, we agree with the Protestants on this and this and this, then think about your gas tank with 15 holes in it. And you're out there on the highway in western Nevada. Good luck to you. Except that in Nevada you play with your earthly life. In church doctrine you play with your eternal life. And if you play with that, you will lose it. So the point is, you do never give up one single doctrine. But there is a hierarchy in the sense not of a more important or less important truth, but of the certainty of something. How certain we can be that something that is derived, that is a conclusion from what has been revealed, is actually true. And this is why the church traditionally makes the distinction between de fide revelata, something of revealed faith. And then we talk about something which is de fide definita, defined faith. Like revealed faith is the words of Christ and the gospel. De fide definita, that's for example the Assumption, and before that the Immaculate Conception, something that has been defined as divinely revealed. And then we have something which is fide proxima. That means it is not, it's close to the faith, most close to the, closest to the faith. It doesn't mean it's not faith. It only means it has not yet been defined, probably because there was not yet a need to define it, because everybody believes it anyway, because it's logically, intimately connected with something that has been revealed to us. And then we have what is called of the faith of the church. That means the church has always believed it. Nobody has ever doubted it. So there was never a need to discuss it. There was never a need to call a council to discuss it. And the church has always believed it. What was the Immaculate Conception 1,000 years ago? Well, everybody believed it, even though they didn't know with the same precision we do now what it was. But it was always believed. It was always believed that Our Lady was the purest of all mere, quote-unquote mere human beings. And then we have what is called the sententia certa, something that's not yet been defined. It is not inseparably, immediately connected to a revealed truth, but we are very, very sure about it. I mean, not we, you and me, but the church. That's what's called the sententia certa. And then you have well, everybody believes it. It's highly probable. I don't see any other solution to the theological problem. You talk about the sententia probabilis, something is probable. And then we have what is called the sententia communis. That means, well, most theologians agree on it, some others don't. And now, here, again, as something can be true, something can be wrong. So we have the same certitude in something that is the same certitude. We have the same, what do you call it, the same hierarchy of certitude as to something that is wrong. If you deny something that Christ personally said, or something that has been directly revealed, you're a heretic. If you deny something that has been defined as a dogma, you're a heretic. If you deny something that's the closest possible thing to a dogma, then you are very close to heresy. Heresy proximo. Proximus in that case, if you're male. Again, if you deny a sententia certa, the church will say you are in error. The church will not say you're a heretic, go to hell, but the church will say you are in error. The important thing about Auctorium Fidei is that everything that has been put under censure, that's what you call it, censura in Latin, the evaluation of a statement. Everything in that bull that has been censured by Pope Pius VI, for the very fact that it has been censured by Pope Pius VI, now is at least a sententia certa. Because otherwise, where would the ordinary magisterium of the Pope be if he couldn't do that? But still, since Pius VI was the one who did it, he still said, for example, that when the Synod of Pistoia demanded a simplification of liturgical rites, doesn't that sound familiar to you? A simplification of liturgical rites, Pope Pius VI said that this was offensive to pious ears, offensive to Catholic ears, because it had been a sententia, a common sentence, a common judgment by all theologians, that this would not be justified. But since Pius VI put this as a censure in his Auctorium Fidei, the very same demand done in the very first of all documents of Vatican II, Sacrosanctum Concilium, that the so-called Holy Council wanted to simplify liturgy, is not anymore just simply offensive to pious ears. It is simply erroneous, because it goes against something that has been elevated as to its certainty by Pius VI in Auctorium Fidei. We will have to come back to this later when we talk about the matter of a council. Now, the intention of a council has been for all of the 20 ecumenical councils to call the council together in order to condemn errors and to define doctrine. There is one exception, not as to the intention but as to the outcome, and that was in 1245 in France, in Lyon. Pope Innocent IV called the council, the first council of Lyon, with the explicit purpose not just to ban the Emperor Frederick II. Anybody who is interested in the Emperor Frederick II, I'm sure there's hundreds of pages on the website on him. For mere historical circumstances, which never can determine the validity of a council, for mere historic circumstances, the actual ban pronounced against the Emperor Frederick II, together with a few minor but still dogmatic statements about errors to be found with this emperor, was the only thing the council did. The intention of the council, however, was to rectify everything that had been either pronounced by the Emperor Frederick II or was a result of his attitude and those of his followers. So the very fact that historically something might not exactly turn out the way it was expected to be doesn't invalidate. But the intention was there. Lyon, number one, was called for the same reason that every single council from Nicaea, number one, until the First Vatican Council was called. It was called to fight heresies. There's no reason here to name all the heresies that have been fought and more or less successfully by the councils. But that was the common intention ever and always for calling an ecumenical council. John the 23rd wanted the contrary. We shall not condemn anything. We shall not pronounce a dogma here. So what actually happens was the same thing that would happen if before I approach the altar to celebrate Mass, I tell John in private, listen John, I'm going to do everything that's required in order to celebrate Mass, but I have absolutely no intention of celebrating Mass. I want to pull a show. Now John would be the only one in that case to know that what happened here was not a Mass. That's how it is possible that something that looks as much as a council as Vatican II did might not necessarily have been a council. As if fraud was a new thing. As far as the intention is concerned, I don't think there's much to add. we can clearly see that John the 23rd, as the first pope in the history of the Church, had the contradictory intention of calling an ecumenical council, and at the same time not to condemn errors and not to define doctrine. 20 times before that in the Church, this was considered unacceptable. What now is the form of a council? You have to understand the word form. The word form sometimes today is misunderstood in two ways. Either both superficial. Either by saying, well, the form of a thing is really not that important. I mean, how important is it if this glass has a cup and a stem and a base? Or if this would be the sort of cup with just a cup and no stem? Wrong. You see, anybody of a certain education and experience with wine, which people tell me that I would have, would see this glass and immediately say, oh, Father, that's a wine glass. No matter if there's wine in there or not. I'll show you that glass empty, and you would say, Father, well, as far as I know, this is a wine glass. It doesn't look like the typical Coca-Cola cup. So, the form makes it a wine glass. Not the matter. The matter is glass. The form, the shape in that case, the shape, which is at the same time the form, decides that this is a wine glass. The typical way you would treat glass in order to have a wine glass. So the essence of this is it's a wine glass. It's not just a container for some liquid. That's very unspecific. But it is specifically a typical wine glass. Not specific enough to say this is a typical white wine glass or a typical red wine glass, but specific enough to say this is very obviously a wine glass. Now, in the human being, the matter, that's easy. The matter is what you see, or what you can x-ray, or what you can kill, or what you can bury. What makes that animal a human being? The soul. So, rightly, the soul is called the form of the human being. This is where people raise their eyebrows and say, hey, wait a second. The form of a human being is whatever way he looks like. No, because when I said in this case the shape is also the form, that's a simple thing. The human being is not that simple. It might be of a rather extensive shape like the matter, or it might be of a less extensive shape like the usual model today, which seems like a bunch of spaghetti. And so the form is not just the exterior shape or what you can see. The form is actually what it is. In Latin you will say the form, forma est essentia. The form of something is its very essence. What is essence? Essentia, very easy to understand. Essentia est id, quo aliquar res est, quod est. You will say, haha, very easy. Well, essence is exactly where something is what it is. Not where it is something else, but where it is exactly what it is. So it's the essence of things. See, in English, it's easy to understand. We use the word. Look it up in the American Heritage Dictionary, which I consider by far the best in all. I've spent hours and hours comparing dictionaries, and I'm not paid by the American Heritage Company, but I can tell you it's the best dictionary. Look up the word essence. Essence is exactly like you would say, in common sense, in the way you have learned English all of your life, you would say, that's the essence of things. That's it. So the essence is when you say, that's it. What's the essence of a council? Where would you say a council is really what it is? When somebody says to you, you ask him, sir, excuse me, Father, what is a council? If I give you an answer that will cause you to say, oh, that's it, then I told you about the essence of a council. Now, the form of a council, essence of a council is, it is extraordinary magisterium resulting from the extraordinary magisterium given to the bishops, coming from the Pope, on such an occasion. What means extraordinary? Again, don't look up a theological book, consult your common sense. St. Thomas Aquinas always talks about the common sense of things.